Daneth thought the worst he would have to deal with was the storm, an ocean tempest that had hit his ship like a horde of rampaging beasts. Already an old and ramshackle vessel, he thought this would be the moment where it would finally crack apart, leaving him to be pulled into the water and have his flesh devoured by the Cyrus and live within its depths. Thankfully, the skill of his crew and some quick spells from his ship wizard prevented such a fate. They survived the crashing waves and searing lightning, leaving the worst of the storm behind. Eventually, the storm abated, and his crew got to work. His ship hands went through the vessel with plank and hammer, patching holes and nailing boards, ensuring the vessel held together just long enough to reach its destination. It was during this repair that his ship wizard came to him, a look of worry on his face. What he had to tell Daneth made him share that look. This was no natural storm. The wizard had felt an evil hand directing its energies. And whatever it was, he knew it was not done with them. His prediction came true sometime later, as a lookout on the crow's nest sighted another ship on her horizon. Daneth guessed that the approaching vessel was once the craft of a local noble. The bits of its former hull showed the iconography of some famous house. The shape of the vessel was also common to the docks that crisscrossed the Bay of Ogres. The rest of the vessel, however, showed that whatever its original purpose, it was now a ship dedicated to chaos. It was coated in hues of bright purples and pinks that assaulted Daneth's eyes, like a bright flash that bored into your mind and made you want to curl into a ball. Sometimes these colors would flow into each other, becoming like water and forming bubbles that sprayed thick liquid onto the water below. On the ship's deck were monsters. The majority were mutants, wretched souls sprouting tentacles and other, somehow more horrifying appendages. There was also a smattering of thin purple daemons with hands the shape of claws cavorting around his mutant crew. But the most horrifying being was the human standing on the ship's prow. A man of unnatural beauty, the exposed skin on his chest and arms swirled with living tattoos. The tattoos showing creatures from various races performing actions on each other that were both sensual and extremely gruesome. His eyes, though, were the most disturbing. Even from a distance, Daneth could feel them upon him, promising a world of pain and delight that made Daneth want to hide within his own ship's hold. The crew tried their best to stay ahead of the other vessel, but the damage to the ship was too extensive. They would not escape. As the other ship closed in, all hands pulled out weapons, most of them hoping to die in battle, instead of facing whatever plans those on board the chaotic ship had for them. As the ship came within a few yards, and Daneth could see its disgusting crew preparing grapples, he heard a yell from his first mate. Turning to her, he saw her pointing past the ships and at the surrounding waters. So focused was he on the other ship, he hadn't noticed as a strange mist seemed to form around both vessels. Even the mutants and daemons were surprised, maintaining their speed but moving no closer, perhaps expecting that Daneth and his crew had some sort of trick up their sleeve. A minute later, the sounds of a beautiful horn began humming through the air, getting louder and louder before its source made itself clear. Larger than both ships combined, a slick black shape burst from the mist to the side of the Chaos vessel. A beautiful craft built as if to skim on air rather than water, it quickly overcame the Chaos ship, and masterfully crafted black and gold ballistas shot javelins into it. Besides causing massive damage and killing a few mutants, the javelins were also attached to thick cords of rope. Once the rope was taut, the ship's occupants used them to cross. Elves clad in black began to cross the expanse of water between the ships with ease. Some slid down the ropes as if they were children enjoying a ride, giggling with swords in their teeth. Others simply ran across the ropes, their weapons out and ready to unleash hell on their enemies. The two forces clashed. Mutants lashed out at the elves with hammers and tentacles, but most of the elves deftly dodged their blows and began bleeding the mutants with dozens of wounds. The daemons on the ship screamed as they attacked. Daneth knew nothing of the nature of daemons, but if they were mortals, he would have said they were enraged, as if the sight of the elves reminded them of an ancient grudge. As for the tattooed man, he faced off against the tallest elf Daneth had ever seen. Regal of bearing, he was clad in fine vestments that would have made any other race look ridiculous. On an elf, however, it made him look like a dancer, and dance he did. The chaotic champion was quick. His sword thrusts were so fast Daneth could barely see them, But the elf was faster and much more skilled, flowing around the chaotic champion with pirouettes, leaps, and the occasional bow, until finally, the elf finished the dance with one final swipe of his cutlass, ending the man's movements with a slice into the back of the neck, severing his spine. By then, all the ship's former occupants were dead. He could see teams of elven men and women hauling loot from the ship's hold. After giving a few orders, the elven captain leapt a short distance towards Daneth's vessel. Landing in a gentle crouch, he rose up and looked around the deck. "Where is your captain?" he said politely, his manner relaxed. I'm here. Daneth Curl, Daneth tried to say. I thank you. They would have... Yes, I know, the elf interrupted. They would have done horrible things using horrible things. As much as I would like to hear your thanks, I'm on a bit of a schedule. So could you please hand me your manifest? My manifest? Daneth stated, surprised. I don't understand. Well, this was quite a diversion, and I did lose 2 of my own in that scuffle. As grateful as you are, I would assume some compensation is in order? Yes, Daneth stuttered. But, the storm. The ship is barely holding together. I will need to sell most of what I'm carrying to make it seaworthy again. I see, the elf said with concern. I understand. Well, this is easy to resolve. We shall simply walk to my ship and have a discussion on the matter. There, I'm sure we can come to a mutually beneficial agreement. Yes? The look on the elf's face showed that there would be nothing beneficial about said agreement. Sighing deeply in defeat, Daneth turned towards his first mate. The woman nodded her head in understanding and walked over to the elf. Going into a pouch at her side, she pulled out a small leather book and handed it to their would-be savior. Smiling, the elf opened the book and began to browse its contents before looking once more at Daneth. Oh, don't give me that look, old boy. What's a few baubles compared to keeping your soul intact? Remember, the elf went on, his face cracked with a sarcastic smile, in the war against chaos, we're all in this together. Bursting from the seas and rivers of Azir come the Scourge privateers. Employed by the forces of Azir, they ply the oceans of the realms with sea dragon cloaks and wicked cutlasses. There they hunt down beasts for the beast markets of Azerheim, a valuable service, as the beasts will either be used in the armies of Order, or cut apart for components by arcane mages. When not hunting for beasts, they hunt the enemies of Order, using their skills in sea warfare to bring ruin to the forces of chaos, destruction, and death, as well as ensuring they make some profit in the process. The leaders of these fleets are the Black Ark Fleet Masters. Supremely skilled mariners and fighters, they lead their crews with ruthless efficiency, ensuring their crews always find the best targets in their quest for the best profit, whether that be a rampaging beast or a vulnerable crew. A good fleet master is both loved and feared. Loved for leading his crew to the most profitable and exciting fights, and feared for what that fleet master will do to those that get in his or her way, whether that be a stubborn enemy or an insubordinate crewman. Below the fleet master is his crew. Unlike other fleets, the Black Ark Corsairs aren't a rabble of ship hands hoping to simply live free from conflict. The Corsairs thrive on danger, wishing for goods and treasures, yes, but always hoping for an exciting fight to go along with it. If forced to fight against an annoyingly quick foe on land, the fleet master will deploy the Scourge runner chariots, running down beasts with blows from their hooked spears, or killing off fleeing foes with hits from their repeater crossbows. Skilled with beasts as they are, it makes sense they would employ some of their own. The most terrifying of these captured beasts is the Carabdis, a monster put into a frenzy by the cruel whips of the privateers. It charges into enemy forces with a berserker rage, slaughtering enemies with its clawed limbs, spiked tail, and fanged tentacles. It can also unleash a frightening scream that can make even the bravest of souls quake in fear. To be a Scourge privateer is to make your life on the seas, to run down your enemy with the speed of your sail, and put them down with the blade of your cutlass. Hey guys, this is Arvandus, and I want to say I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these short stories / descriptions of various races in Age of Sigmar, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll keep doing it. Not only Age of Sigmar, perhaps other games that I have interest in. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.